Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, also the founder of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a marketing agency that only works with fencing and decking companies. But today is going to be a good day. I have someone that's doing a really amazing job and has built a really successful company, and I'm really excited because we're going to be talking a lot about the technology piece. Not going to spoil that just here yet, plus a lot of other things that he brought to my attention before we started recording, but a lot of really good and exciting things that I think everybody's going to get a lot of value from. But today I have Mason Kuipers from Lakeshore Customs in Michigan. Mason, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you listened to the show before, I was at the Timber Tech Summit, and I think I was introduced to Mason. I don't know, somebody from Timber Tech probably, but everything that Mason was saying, I was immediately impressed by, and it kind of stuck into my head, to be honest, because as probably a lot of listeners here can agree, fencing and decking are usually behind a lot of other industries and usually late to adopt different things, different technologies. And when I heard, what Mason was doing with his brother and what Lakeshore Customs is doing, it really stuck out because very few people are doing it. So, just always kind of stuck in my head. And when I was talking with Matilde from my team, I wanted to get him on here so we could kind of dig into this a little bit more. But anyways, I'm going to let Mason kind of explain this himself, and I'm not going to, ruin it, and he'll do a much better job explaining it anyways. So, but to start, Mason, if you could just kind of, introduce yourself, talk about your story, maybe your history kind of leading up to starting the business, background, things like that. And, getting into it.
Totally. No, thanks for that intro. And thanks for having me on here. So again, Mason Kuipers, Lakeshore Customs. We're based out of Western and Northern Michigan. Me and my brother started Lakeshore Customs, and currently both live in Holland, Michigan. So we're born and raised west side of Michigan, which we get to do the fun, we're right here kind of thing. So we're, the thumb state on that side. Unique start and journey to starting and founding Lakeshore Customs. I am the oldest. Clayton is a few years younger than me, but 2020, I was actually a senior studying business and communications double major at Hope College, which is right here in Holland, Michigan as well. We had a family friend who we grew up next to, bought a house on Lake Michigan during the high water. And so for all of those that don't know about the high water, the Great Lakes are actually on a fluctuating water level every 20 to 25 years. End of 2019, early 2020 was not only the last high water, but it was the record high water. And so during that time, a lot of property gets eroded due to the large sand bluffs we have on Lake Michigan and water being high enough to actually lap and start to erode those bluffs. We have large sand bluffs. Some of you may know about Sleeping Bear Dunes, which is more towards northern Michigan. Beautiful lakeshore. We have bluffs ranging from 5 feet to 1,000 feet. And so with us facing predominant northwest winds and sand built up coming from the Great Lakes, sand gets brought in. And so our family friend bought that house. And at that time got a great deal on the property because it was practically falling into the lake. And so he asked me and Clayton, my brother, to help him do a large geotextile sandbag revetment to protect the property and save it. We did that. We were successful. Multiple neighbors started asking for the same thing. And this was just getting into 2020, which also was the start of COVID. So very weird times. I was just graduating, just leaving college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. My mom had always kind of been telling me that she thought I was going to be in sales, business leadership, marketing, something of that nature. Didn't really know what that was yet. And so kind of took this as an opportunity. The person we'd been working with sold us the equipment, kind of didn't have the time for it anymore. And we started Lakeshore Customs. My brother, Clayton, is very gifted in operations, craft, using his hands, kind of the actual building of the product. And so, yeah, we started pretty much helping any neighbors who needed the same thing, doing miles of sandbags along Lake Michigan. And we did that underneath the name Lakeshore Customs for about a year and a half. It was me, my brother, and a few friends. And during that time, we obviously were saving homes on Lake Michigan and didn't really know what that was going to turn into. We did that for about a year and a half. And after building, multiple projects for multiple clients along the lakeshore, miles of sandbags at that point, we started to build a client base. And after the water levels started to recede, so every 20, 25 years is actually from the high to the, it's high to high, and then it fluctuates down to a low water. And so we're kind of in that trajectory now after, I guess you'd say, 6 years since the peak high water. And so we started to diversify who we were and for that same client. And so we started serving them in different ways, doing different things. And so we actually, as the water levels went down, started to rebuild the bluffs that were lost and actually rebuild custom stair access for people on these large bluffs to get back down to their beach again. Because obviously, in this pristine environment, getting on the lake shore is the priority. And so we already had the clients. We started diversifying, serving them in different ways. And that actually started teaching us a lot about Lake Michigan, the environments around here, custom construction, custom landscaping. And that's really set us up for the company we are today, specializing in luxury outdoor living, luxury outdoor design build, basically transforming backyards and lakefronts on Lake Michigan. And so, yeah, that's kind of the progression of how we started, where we're at today. The company's grown substantially. We have a large team and we love what we do and we love how we do it too. So that's kind of a glimpse at Lakeshore Customs.
Nice. So you're telling me these people got hit by COVID and their properties eroded in 1 year?
Pretty much, pretty tough year.
Jeez. Yeah, that's brutal. That sounds like a way to crush you.
Yeah, for
Yeah, oh my
sure.
gosh,
It
that's
was kind of
unbelievable.
interesting because that was right when COVID started, as you probably all remember. I mean, things were just getting shut down left and right. But for
Yeah.
us, fortunately, there was a huge need on the lakeshore, and we were out there every single day, and we never got shut down. So it was actually kind of a good thing for us at the time, which was interesting. But
Gotcha. Okay. And right now, if you could talk about like the company specifically, maybe what specific types of projects you do, what kind of crews you're running, and where you're sitting as of today.
totally, yeah. So within all that education, I was referencing specifically to custom construction. Once we started rebuilding staircases along Lake Michigan, that gave us all the skills we really needed to specialize in building custom decks. And so we've done multiple large scale custom deck projects along the lakeshore and elsewhere as well. Actually, kind of became a little bit easier. Building custom staircases from 5 feet to 500 feet down a bluff is much harder than building a custom deck on the back of a house.
I would
Um,
imagine.
there's definitely some elements to building custom decks that can be very difficult, but our team was built for it and we adapted and started doing those projects as well. And so we do a lot of custom deck construction. We also do a lot of custom landscaping. We've obviously recreated and rebuilt dunes on Lake Michigan with a lot of the dune restoration we did. And so that gave us and our team a lot of the capabilities to rebuild these landscape environments from softscapes to hardscapes as well too. So we do a lot of hardscape retaining walls, hardscape patios, and then all outdoor living features that coincide with an outdoor living space. So custom fire features, custom outdoor kitchens, pergolas, any pools, spas, anything you could really think of bringing a full backyard or lakefront transformation together. But also, we still do a lot of custom stair building as well. So, aluminum adjustable systems from a product that's actually been innovated and founded locally here in West Michigan. So, we do a lot of custom stair builds like that and a lot of custom permanent stair builds as well. And then docks here and there when they make sense too. So,
Nice. So you're doing pools too, huh? Like you're
yeah,
installing.
we're kind of getting into pools. We haven't really been a pool builder, but at this point we're subcontracting them out in the right application. But we're starting to kind of branch into that a little bit for the
Oh
right
wow.
projects.
Nice, nice. Well, yeah, it sounds like absolutely massive projects. So you know what like the average size is that you're typically working on?
Yeah, I would say it's interesting because as we continue to shift the business to adapt to what our clients' needs are, which at this point has been a Lake Michigan homeowner has been our main client base. It's always kind of changed from protecting properties to rebuilding them and now enhancing them. So today, I would say our average deal size is going to be in that mid 100s to upper 100s, is kind of like our average deal size.
Nice. Yeah. I figured it had to be around there with
Yeah,
everything you're talking about, and especially the lake houses too. And
for
the
sure.
stairs, I'm sure, are pretty pricey just installing those and all the
Totally.
lifts and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
okay. So when Mason and I were talking before here, we were talking about one of the things that really stood out, as I was saying in the beginning, was the designs and how he's doing that. So I'll let him talk about that. But Mason, could you talk about like how you go about that? You're doing these big projects, people that have a lot of money, so obviously they're going to need to see some kind of nice representation before they drop 150 grand or whatever on a new deck. So can you talk about like your design process, really anything you want to highlight there that you're currently doing that's, really working well?
Totally, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things we talked about that I think is um, newer in our space and newer in our market, which is interesting, is you know today there's a lot of options out there. So as far as product selections go, I feel as if standing behind the best quality product manufacturers and materials that are out there is really important. So being able to try new materials, see what works for the elements you're in, and also behind the partners that are going to stand behind you and your clients for years to come is definitely the first priority when it comes to design and picking materials. But second, being able to actually put your hands on a product is one thing, but actually walking through a build and seeing it before it's built is a huge priority when your investment grows. When you're spending two, three, four, $500,000 on a backyard transformation, being able to actually stand inside of it and feel the things that you're going to feel on that, I guess you could say, product that you're purchasing or investing in for your property, a lot of times emotional ROI matters more than actual financial ROI. Being able to understand if this is a second, third, fourth property, what memories are going to be made on that property with that investment, the things that you're going to be able to do is a whole nother level of evaluation than necessarily just the financial component. So that's a big thing that we hired in a full design team that is external, but sits underneath us as a white glove service about a year ago. And it's a 70-person design team that specializes in each individual category in the design process, from house model creation, drafting, 2D plans, 3D renders, 3D videos, virtual reality walkthroughs. So that's one thing as a tool we've used, is actually using VR for our clients to step inside of their build before they invest in it and actually be able to walk through the product, see, touch, feel, experience those emotions that you're going to feel in the product itself too. And so I guess maybe to summarize most of that, I think the intentionality that goes into planning, designing, and executing a project for a client that is looking for something like that is just a very large priority.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was the virtual reality. I don't know. I don't think I've heard of anyone else using that. I'd love to know about that specifically too. Like how does that set up? Like what are they seeing? To be honest, I think I've held on one of those headsets like once in my whole life. It was like my
Yeah,
nephew's or something, so I don't even really
sure.
know them. Yeah, but how that works and how maybe how you customize it, what the options are for people to see, I guess anything really that could say.
Yeah, totally. So at this point, we just moved to our new facility. I guess it'd be about two and a half months ago now, and so we actually have we graduated from shop life to now we actually have a full operations facility and a showroom and an office, and
Nice.
so we are currently wrapping up our build on our experience center, where a lot of that is related to presentation of designs, having the ability to walk through and use the virtual reality to walk through the actual build in person, and then also product selection, and then we have an outdoor spot as well too to actually walk through product. But what that looks like is going through what we call our luxury design experience from start to finish is a design consultation that then is where we get to know and build a relationship with the client, get to know their maybe goals around functionality, aesthetic, ROI, emotional, and financial, and really get to understand what they're looking for. We then take that, and our design team goes to work building the design. Once we have that design created, we can do really anything with it. We, develop a house model of the exact current property in the state that it's in. And then from there, we draft off of it for 3D perspectives, 2D rendering or 2D plans, anything really we need to have actually kind of bring the build to life. And then from there, we can make 3D video files and actually design software our team renders in. We can render in VR. So then at that point, it's just a file that is then pretty much brought into the virtual reality headset. And then from there, we can look around and actually see exactly what's in that 3D render, but actually rendered in VR, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And before I keep going on this, I just want to highlight what you said, the emotional ROI, because I don't think anybody's put it like that on here, but it's something you got to think about. I feel like everyone forgets about, like if you're, especially if you're going after the luxury market or it's not like a rental property. I mean, a deck, let's face it, like people love decks. They love outdoor living. It's cool. It's not a roof for an HVAC system where everyone just wants to get it over with. So I
Right,
guess,
right.
like if you're not kind of playing to those emotions, you're definitely going to be missing out. Or if you don't just go into it and with that kind of mindset, because if like a Mason Lakeshore Customs example, $150,000 deck, somebody that's buying that has money. So they're not thinking about how much can they make on the property if they sell it. I mean, I doubt they ever are, but maybe a couple times or something. But more than
Yeah.
likely, they're thinking about how cool their outdoor space could be to bring the grandkids or their kids, whatever, and just have a really cool overall property. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
I guess I just want to kind of piece that out real quick, but um, when they're in the virtual reality, so like you see the design, is it just the design? Is there anything you can add into it, like to show anything specific? Like will it show their specific house? Is there a way? I was always curious, is there a way to like add kids playing or something like that, to like
Yeah.
really draw that in?
Yeah. No. Do you want me to send you? We have like a video walking through what it looks like. Would it be helpful if I send that to you and you could overlay it on this, or is that possible?
I'll talk to our media guy to see if we can do that.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll share it. Basically what it looks like is, um, and you can see it on our website too. If you go to lakeshorecustoms.com and you go to our design process, as you scroll through, it'll show you an actual video of the VR experience and what it looks like. It's everything is their house. So it's, it's crazy. I mean, you're stepping inside of your property with your house exactly in a remodel perspective. Like, okay, say you've already been there and you're redesigning the space. It's your house, it's your lake, that your view, everything you would imagine it as, with a new design on top of it, and being able to walk through that new design. It is more of like, the example I sometimes use is like with a house listing. When you click through to different zones, that's
Right.
more of the
Yeah.
experience right now as the technology develops, but you're actually able to kind of position yourself in different perspectives, and then you just look around like you would, if you were standing there yourself.
Yeah, that is so cool. I mean, like I said, I talk to people all day long. We have a lot of clients and I've never seen anybody do that. Like that's why it really stuck. I mean, that was one of the main reasons why it stuck out to me. So anybody that's selling, I think it probably would work cool for everybody. I think it's literally a non-negotiable if you're selling higher end products. Like how cool would that be
Yeah,
if you can separate yourself? But that's just unbelievable. That's where it's at, and it's only going to get better, I would imagine too, where you can do just about anything with it. But do you know
sure.
what kind of headsets you use for that? Anything specific that
Yeah, so we use the Oculus MetaQuest 3.
Okay.
We'd love to, it's been a trial and error thing for about 6 months for us as we branch into this. And so we've gotten good positive feedback from it. I'm sure we'll start to invest in some higher level equipment soon. Um, I think the quality will be even better, which is amazing. And I do know some architectural firms that are, actually using it with much more advanced VR technology. or I believe they're even connecting in to make selection changes on the fly, which is pretty wild.
Huh.
To actually say, hey, let's swap out this decking color or swap out this piece of
That is
furniture,
cool. Yeah.
which is pretty sweet. So we're not there yet. We'd love to be there at some point. And again, I don't. I think it'll become groundbreaking for a while, but then it'll kind of shift to more of the norm when you're evaluating a design in a lot of places. Again, even VR equipment's pretty cost effective. It's nothing crazy until you get into some higher level units. But I think the biggest investment is putting your time, energy, focus, and intentionality into design. Um, VR is awesome and it's a great tool to use, but being able to bring new vision to life for your clients, if you're looking to grow into a more, let's just say, luxury transformation, outdoor transformation space with your business. Now, Lakeshore Customs, we have started in that space with the client we were serving when we were saving homes on the lakeshore. We shifted to different service models, but we're still serving that same client. And same thing today. We've continued to shift in the skill set we have and how we serve our clients, but it's always been the same type of clientele looking for the same thing. And so we've built our business around that. Now, if we get called for a 12 by 12 deck on the back of a house, we absolutely are going to connect in someone else because it's just not how we built our business. And it's just the choice I think in the decking world specifically, you kind of have to make if you're setting yourself up for a certain experience for a client looking to do a high end transformation, or if you're looking to do volume and serve for more people, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And do you charge extra for these designs? Do you lock them, make them pay separate for it? How does that work?
Yeah, so we charge a design experience. Right now, our pricing is at $1,500. We do credit half that back to the client if they move forward with us.
Okay.
Um, what we also have seen too is we we don't necessarily like qualify, but we do know what our ideal clients will say, ask, typically come to us with. And I think based on our marketing and brand building that we've done, we've helped position ourselves to make sure that right person does reach out to us. So we do a lot of making sure we're the right fit for the person we're talking to. More that kind of setup than necessarily we don't really qualify off a budget or anything of that nature. It's more just what are your goals and how can we serve you with what we've built on our end. Um, and For some reason I'm forgetting the question you asked now. What did you ask?
Oh, now you're gonna quiz me now.
Sorry. What was I? I lost my
Um,
train of
I
thought.
think we
What
were
was
just
I
talking. We
talking
were talking
about?
about the designs and or like the cost of those. That was a
Oh,
really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we charge $1,500, but that is only for presentation of the designs. That is not supplying the designs. Um, we would charge more like ten to $20,000 if they wanted to have the designs.
Okay.
So we're not a design company. We design our builds, and so if you want the design for our builds, it's a premium price to pay for that. But if you want to build with us, we'll design your build. I know that's probably a play on words, but you get the point. We're not just kicking designs out. We're designing our builds.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, all right. So the design piece of that. Anything else before we kind of go on to something else, like how you go about it? I mean, anything you've noticed, like I don't know, kind of creating them for a specific higher end type of uh, homeowner. Anything that's really stuck out to you during that whole process that really seems to work well?
Yeah, yeah. I think something that does help a lot with too is eliminating change orders. Um, Even if, and I don't mean to say any of this like you couldn't design for a volume-based deck building company. Like I think you absolutely can. I think there's different ways to set up your design process to fit the needs of that more. A lot of times, I think there's some speed-based, uh, maybe components of a volume-based deck building company that's going to need speed. And so I think there's ways to work within a design company. I'll mention them here. Your Haven is the name of the design company we work with. We do have exclusivity over that design company in most of the state of Michigan, besides the eastern side of Michigan. But for anyone listening that is looking to find a design company, it's an amazing solution. And when we got connected with them, that really helped us streamline that design first process to help eliminate any questions or change orders or miscommunications on a build. I think everyone should design their builds. I think the ability to see exactly expectation wise what the client's going to get. A lot of times you may be able to do that with past project pictures, or if it is very similar. But when you're new designing from scratch a build, having that maybe let's just say the client and you were on the same page from the get go on exactly what they're getting down to the actual 2D plans and how it's being put together. Your Haven specifically, we'll just use TimberTech for example. They'll jump on a phone call with TimberTech's team, get every piece of information they need to make sure it's planned exactly how it needs to. And so we're not wasting any time going back and forth with anything that changes on the project, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and I wanted to see, based off what you've told me and what I can see from the site, uh, the whole team building piece. Mason's a younger guy, and you can hear how he talks. He's very, they're doing extremely well. So when I see like the things that he's done, the business that they built, I'm always curious about, team building, and that's what we were talking about. So I would love to see like how you've created this culture, so quickly. A lot of guys will take decades and not have a culture. It'll take a very long time, and there's still not really anything, really anything there. So, as you were saying, it's been, like 6 years. You guys have a lot of team members. Seems like everyone, loves working there. So, could you talk
Yeah.
on that? Like, you talked about team doesn't just build decks. Everyone's kind of bought in. Can you talk about that? How you were able to build that?
Yeah. Totally. No, absolutely. Yeah, super incredibly blessed with the team that we have, the clients we get to work with, the partners we have in the industry. We're just having a lot of fun. Super, super fun. What I will say that I think we started to learn early is purpose. And I know that's kind of sounds cliche to say, oh, what is, your mission statement, what's your purpose? I think truthfully knowing why you're doing what you're doing, excuse me, is really important. Our purpose at Lakeshore Customs, I don't mean to bog your editing team down, but I just burped, so I don't know if you can cut that out.
You're
But
good. No, man, this is like Joe Rogan, man. Everything good.
right, everything's raw.
Yeah.
um, sorry, I'll cut it
You're
back
good.
into it. So one thing we learned early on is just understanding our core purpose. When we first started Lakeshore Customs, we again, how I explained the story earlier, very unique opportunity to kind of jump into what we were doing. I had been praying a lot about what I was going to do when I graduated from college, didn't really know what that looked like. And, kind of this opportunity fell into our lap to, get running on something, do a lot of it quickly, even during a pandemic. We just were super blessed with that opportunity. We felt overwhelmed, me and Clayton, with joy of just being able to do that, do what we did, be profitable in what we did. And at that point, we had, me, him, and a couple friends doing that together. And those friends are still here today in our leadership team. And early on, we had that unique opportunity. And we decided we could have either, I guess, once the water levels went down in Lake Michigan, we could have gotten out of the business and just kind of moved on with our lives and did something different, take it as a lesson learned. But we kind of came together and built that core team and said, we would really love to take this blessing the Lord gave us and turn it into something bigger and better. And He's, maybe using us to do something greater through what we're doing. And really, then, I know I didn't get to talk much about geotextile sandbags on Lake Michigan, but when you're filling large 50-foot sandbags on Lake Michigan through the night, through the snow, through the wind, through the waves to help save someone's property, I think you start to build some core values
Yeah.
of who you are and what you're standing behind and how you're helping people. And so that kind of transitioned between this opportunity to start the business, this way we're helping serve someone, into our purpose statement, which is building life to its full potential. What that looks like is building life to its full potential for everyone, whether it's our clients, whether it's our employees, to grow to their full potential in their career, in their family, in their faith, in their fitness, any aspect of their life. We want Lakeshore Customs to be a mission ground for people to grow in their lives, whether
Yeah.
it's their property, whether it's their career. Um, that truthfully has helped fuel and shape our culture and who we are, how we make decisions, how we cast vision, how we actually execute on our day to day through those core values that we share as a company and that purpose that we have. Um, that ability to, I guess, make decisions, build teams, evaluate things, and see things through that lens, I think it's helped us build what we've built today.
Yeah, for sure. Well put too. So is it EOS that you're running?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we've always kind of operated around principles of EOS,
Okay.
but this past November would have when we started to implement EOS into our business. But it's kind of been a full circle effect with doing that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the way you put that because you kind of made it an over, like an umbrella for the team and for the customers, which I don't think I've really heard. It's like the same mission for everything, I guess,
Yeah,
But if anybody's curious what EOS is, like, I think everybody should be running it. Just like
totally.
Mason's saying here, I mean, it will completely transform your business and get people on the same page. If you have team members and you're not running or you don't have any kind of structure, there's a good chance they have literally no idea what's going on. That's what when I did it, that's what I realized. Like nobody really even knew. I thought people just kind of could read my mind maybe or something, but
Right,
they really had no idea like
right.
what was going on and no leadership team, and quite frankly, we had a lot of people that were not in the right seats. That's like the thing in the US,
Yeah,
right people, right seats. So a lot of people that, no longer work with us or got promoted or demoted, whatever they wanted. But we would have literally no clue unless we actually asked, and I never did. So
totally.
you might learn quite a few things there if you just ask your team or you try US. But
Yeah.
I am curious, like, how do you go about it? Because you feel really strongly about your team. Are you when you're
Hmm.
hiring? Are you looking? How do you balance that with like skills versus culture fit? What do you look for? Are you looking for people that are older that have been around and just know these things? Are you looking for young
Yeah.
people that can come in and learn from whoever you got? How does that work?
Yeah. No, that's a good question because I would say the word determination always just cycles around both of those categories between kind of what we would say is, skill level in maybe the construction or landscaping trade knowledge, and then character, or like you said, culture fit or core value fit. Um, we used to err more on the side of culture fit, which is good, but you also need people to know what they're doing. And so
Yep.
now when you have determination, I feel like you could be in either one of those categories and find your way to where it all kind of comes together. But being able to be determined and set goals for yourself and want to achieve something and be a part of something greater that's, for a greater cause, I think that itself is what we look for, the ability to make progression in maybe multiple categories of someone's life, to want to get to that next level. And so maybe it's more of a growth minded individual is what we look for. Our
Yeah.
team does range in age from, early 20s, to mid to upper 30s. And so our team does range in age, but we don't have any 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds right now. So we do have a very young
Interesting.
company.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's what I always figured that would be a big deal with any kind of contractor would be you get that guy who's been around for a while and he's very set in his ways. Gonna he's gonna be hard to kind of change and fit into a culture if he's like so dead set on doing it the way he always has, or
Yeah, for
he's a
sure.
know it all or something like whatever.
Right,
But
right,
yeah.
right.
Okay. Um, so the higher end customers, because you're going for like the ultra high end customers, 150,000 like average, I think you said. So what is what are you doing like specifically to go after those types of people? Like what have you maybe it's your marketing, what is it that you've seen like really attracts like those people with a lot of money, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I would say brand positioning for sure. I would say how you present yourself through your marketing and what you are. I think, you can't be everything to everybody. And so I think you have to almost choose that route in a way, only because it's just a different level of intentionality, like we were talking about within design, execution, planning, preparation, communication. There's so many things that go into a project of that size. Now, it's just, in my opinion, different. Marketing is very important. For us, we do have a unique, I would say not an advantage, but almost position with how we did start our business from a referral base. And so being able to uh, continue to serve those same clients in different ways and then, grow in referrals of other clients in those same communities. For example, a lot of homeowners on Lake Michigan are from Chicago. And so when they come into a new market and it's a second, third, fourth home, they build trust with someone, they would like to keep working with that person, and they continue to tell others that they also trust about these people they trust. And so that referral network is very important. I would say referrals definitely are a huge piece of that, of being able to build great trust with, say it's someone looking in to get into it. I'd like to start building bigger decks or bigger projects, building a couple great relationships by maybe some marketing efforts to get into that space, designing some spaces, doing those projects, and then being able to actually leverage some of that referral relationship within those clients of, for example, um, you know, creating more value for your clients to then bring in other people they know that are looking for the same thing could be a good way to do that. But again, SEO and marketing, leverage like you specialize in, I think is very important for how you position yourselves. For example, for us, building large custom decks on Lake Michigan is all over our information on our web platforms. And so we get, after building years of SEO generation, we all have a homeowner in Lake Michigan looking for a custom deck reach out to us through a phone call or through a web contact form on the weekly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you mentioned that referrals because I've heard some other contractors I've talked to, like to get into what you have. The referrals tends to be a big piece because people with money that live in the same neighborhood tend to refer you. So I am curious, like what percent is typically referrals versus other avenues?
Yeah, I would say about 50-50.
Really? Okay, nice.
50-50. But I think, and something I think you would agree on from your position, is marketing is not only just about lead generation, but brand awareness. And I
Oh yeah,
think that validation for a referral based on your marketing
yeah,
is
yep,
so crucial.
yeah. Oh yeah, yep. If you have a 3-star average and somebody referred you, they're gonna second guess for sure.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. That and also your website and how your website's
yeah,
built and how it performs and how it tells the story of who you are too. Because I just had
yep.
a client this week that had been planning. They started planning a project on Lake Michigan 5 years ago and had multiple different contractors out. Picked a contractor, and this was in the early stages of us starting the business, and just reached out to us this week, and they are back to relighting the project up because it had to here on Lake Michigan. We have to for deck expansions have to go through multiple levels of permitting that sometimes will take years to even build a deck
Oh wow,
in some of these environments in critical dune.
jeez.
And so because of that and how we've built our brand and our business, now that they're looking at the project again, they know that they need to be working with a specific builder for this in specific environment and the specific project. And in this case, we've positioned ourselves to make that make sense for them, that we're the go-to person for them in that scenario.
Interesting. Okay.
If that
So
makes sense.
do you talk to those people that do like refer you? I mean, where are they coming from that are, when they have a very specific scenario, or they just find it on Google, or is there like, I don't know. You're saying there was like, I don't know, maybe I was thinking about that wrong. Is it just like you're saying you fit this specific scenario? Is that, they talk to a friend
Yeah.
and find you, or is it like I was wondering if it was like a government official that might, say like
Right.
these guys specialize in this.
Well, that happens too from a architectural standpoint, from a environmental consulting, from an engineering.
Gotcha.
Definitely, we're in a very what you're seeing here too is we've niched down. So we've niched in a very specific market, which is Lake Michigan waterfront, backyard lakefront transformation, specifically around custom deck building, custom landscapes, and that is our specialty. And so maybe the lesson learned here that we're sharing is understanding your niche is very important, and specifically how you gain referrals through marketing and through client relationships for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And then as we get towards the end here, the social media piece, you guys make some really nice videos. You're obviously know how to create some really higher end things. Of course you need to have the projects, which you do to show them off, but yeah, they are very nice photos, nice drone footage and things like that. How does that give you any direct leads? Do you track that? Or is it like a validation type thing? How does that what has been
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
experience, with the results from that?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going back to that marketing and brand awareness side of things, I would say um, being able to kind of double down in the visual space, especially with AI right now. I think maybe the old approach was writing blog posts or case studies on our web pages to help us tell a story or give information. But now I think the shift to virtual and visual is so prominent because of how quickly you can write a blog post or write a case study with AI. And so there's a lot more validation in visual because it's harder to create for AI. And so our ability to tell our story, showcase what we're doing. We have a lot of clients that make selections or get inspired from our social platforms, but also it might be more of a buzz around town in our markets than anything. Maybe it's uh, something that's absolutely probably untrackable, but we can perform well on social media. Someone can see that well and get in front of a lot of people with that. And then maybe it's a family member who's looking to do a project, and then our name comes up because of that brand awareness. We have a local deck building company that's kind of plastered on every billboard, on every highway in our market. And that's their form of brand awareness to get in front of people. So it maybe just is another form of that.
Yeah. Do you use them as Facebook ads too, or just for organic?
You're saying with videos and pictures?
Yeah.
We don't run any ads.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, that you were saying the billboard. I use that example all the time. Like, you got to get those brand impressions. Facebook ads are kind of like a modern billboard just about, but it's like if you run them wrong, it can be good or bad. It could be pretty bad,
Right. Right.
but anyways. So, and do you
Totally.
guys make the content in house? You have like a designated person for that?
Yeah, we have two designated content creation teams,
Oh,
one for
nice.
long form for YouTube and then one for short form.
Oh, it's an actual team, so like multiple members on each.
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, the one team for long form is two or three individuals, and then the one for short form is I think they might have five or six.
Dang, and that's in house. That many team
That
members?
is not in-house, that is outsourced.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like, dang, that is an impressive
No,
in-house
no,
team.
no. Sorry, I wish. No, that's expensive,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
as you
quite the
know.
payroll there.
Yeah, holy smokes.
um,
Yeah, no, some great individuals though that sit underneath. We actually completely outsource our marketing, like we would with you. And the owner of that company sits as our marketing manager, and then those content creation teams sit under them. And we have a lot of weekly work that we do together, which is sweet. So,
gotcha. And I'm guessing
yep,
they're a local. They have to do the filming, so they're all local. I'm guessing.
yes,
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. Like, we don't really do social media stuff at all. If you can
hmm
get somebody, if you can afford it, it is pricey, but if you can get somebody to be out there on your jobs and find a local company, that's a
yeah,
great idea because
totally,
if you're not there, you're never going to be able to be as good as them. Like, it's just
yeah.
impossible. and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do either. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um,
It's really
okay.
easy to kind of not it's easy to do yourself, but I think it is very obtainable to do yourself too.
Yeah. You just have to either
Be
just brute
consistent.
force and make yourself do it, or you have to like it. And
Yeah.
usually people fall out and just
Yeah,
don't feel
right.
like doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
um, and actually, I'm kind of one of those. I have to like brute force myself to do it sometimes. But if I
Sure.
was out on doing your kind of projects, it probably could be a little bit more fun too, though.
Oh, that's fun.
But okay, man. Yeah, as we're getting right at the end here, is there anything you'd like to add? Everyone that's listening, hearing Mason talk about the company and the success that they've had, um, very fast, they're doing really well. Is there anything you would like to say to kind of anybody that's listening that's trying to grow quicker or maybe, trying to do anything that you guys are doing? Getting more technology savvy. I would say just about everybody should be interested in that. But I don't know, any words of wisdom, things that you'd like to add, before we close out here to improve their business or lessons that you've learned, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say like understanding those lenses of like um why you're doing what you're doing for sure. Why you're doing what you're doing and being able to um understand who you can best serve and create value for. I think value is a huge thing. I think there's so many different ways to evaluate value. Like we were talking about emotionally with ROI, I think your time, your your time value. I think it's something that people miss out on too, especially as you are trying to grow your business and understanding what that time value is. Building a team around yourself too is so amazing and fun to be able to help other people grow in their unique gifts and abilities. Um, I truthfully, I'm a believer in, I think God has wired us all in a certain way to, um, you know, uh, be our best versions of ourselves in certain categories, and being able to help people find those, even to find those for yourself, is really rewarding to then sit in that value and do that every single day of what you're wired to do in those unique gifts and abilities. So those things are really fun and exciting too. I know it's kind of a hard thing to figure out, and I'm still figuring that out myself, but it's fun to have a team around me to be able to do that together and continue to improve and get better. I'm also very open to meeting new people and talking through these things and just kind of thinking about the business from a high level. So if anyone wants to reach out directly, I'd love to just get to know you and talk through these things at any time as well. And however I can share contact information, happy to do that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. We can include that. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, phew, anybody that's not talking to other deck builders and people in your industry, it's a big, big mistake. You gotta have some kind of network and feed off each other,
totally.
share ideas, things like that. And that was interesting too, like the finding what I guess you're good at. Entrepreneurship is like I've told my wife this a million times. It's almost like a spiritual journey because you're humbled in a million ways because things just do not work out how you want them to just about ever.
Right.
So it's like you
Yeah.
really, you come in and I guess you got to have some kind of level of false self confidence to like even keep going, especially in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
years. But as you kind of humble yourself, you learn more about what not only you're good at, but also what you like. And that's the cool part
Yeah.
about it too, is you can hire for the stuff you hate. And you eventually get to a place where,
Yeah.
you have people that love what you hate. And,
Sure.
you end up just doing what you like. And that's been kind of a cool journey for me personally. It sounds like you too. So,
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
um, but yeah, anyways, Mason, I appreciate you coming on here, man. This has been a really good one. And is one of my favorites. I love, I'm a technology guy and I've been in that world for a long time. So of course I'm a little bit biased in that regard, but I hope everyone that's listening kind of thinks about it a little bit and how you can improve that process and, just wow people, like if when nobody puts on a VR headset and, learns and can see their deck, nobody's really doing that. So if you want to separate yourself doing that, other things that Mason was saying, building your team, building that right culture, are all very, very important. So thanks again, man, for coming on here. And
Yeah. Thank you.
hope you guys keep killing it. And going forward with podcast. Hope I'm sure everyone got a lot of value from this, but I'm going to keep going and create some new episodes. We did a webinar today that'll be uploaded on AI optimization. So if you're curious about that, or you're freaking out thinking ChatGPT is going to take over and you're not optimized for it, I got some really good information there that might ease your concerns a little bit, but also show you how to get prepared for for what is to come, because it's only going to get bigger. But yeah, if you do like the podcast, leave a review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we are in, at the time of recording, May. I don't know when it's going to be released, but if you have any questions about your marketing, if things didn't start off the way you wanted, or you want to set a loftier goal, whatever, reach out to our website, deckfencemarketers.com. You can do an audit custom to your business, your goals, all of that, and come back with something, give you some ideas there. But that's it. Thanks again, Mason, for coming on here. And yeah, man, keep killing it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Alex.
Yep.